Hi, I'm Matt from Untrained Terrain, and today we're talking about a guy named Dan Markel from Tallahassee, Florida. Tallahassee, Florida is known for its history, culture, natural beauty, and universities. With a population of over 380,000 people, making it the eighth most populous city in the state of Florida, Tallahassee is the capital of Florida. Tallahassee is predominantly a college town. It's home to Florida State University, Florida A&M University, and Tallahassee State College. Now, living in Tallahassee is a man named Dan Markel, and that's where our story starts. Daniel Eric Markel was born October 9, 1972 in Montreal, Canada, to parents Phil and Ruth Markel, both from Jewish background. His parents raised him in Toronto, and he was said to be a bright, energetic kid who dreamed of going to school in the United States. After graduating high school, Dan was accepted to Harvard University. He would eventually graduate magna cum laude from Harvard with a degree in politics and philosophy. He would then earn a master's degree in political theory from Emmanuel College in Cambridge. From there, he received his JD Law degree from Harvard Law School in 2001. Afterwards, he completed graduate work at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. Markel served as a law clerk of the United States Court of Appeal and was an associate of a prestigious law firm in Washington, D.C., where he practiced white-collar criminal defense. He would then join the faculty of Florida State University in 2005, and later he was tenured in 2010. He also co-founded a blog with fellow law professors called Prof's Blog, where his law reviews often argued for the abolition of the death penalty. Dan often wrote opinion pieces for the New York Times, Slate, The Atlantic, among other publications, so he was very well known in the writing circle. Dan would then meet Wendy Adelson and eventually marry her in 2006. The couple would have two sons, born in 2009 and 2010, Benjamin and Lincoln. Dan met Wendy on a dating site for Jewish singles when he was 33 and when she was 26. Wendy studied law when the pair met, and like Dan, would go on to teach law at the Florida State University School of Law. The couple got married on February 26, 2006, after a brief dating period. Now, they both had their dream jobs, they had great income, they had two kids, they had life by the balls. What else could they want? Life seemed to be going great for the pair until 2012. After 6 years of marriage, the couple split and got divorced a short time later in 2013. Now, Dan was on a work trip, and upon returning, found the house empty. The kids were gone, Wendy was gone. All that was left was a few belongings, and a mattress in the room, and on the mattress was a pile of divorce papers. Now, this goes to show what kind of person Wendy really is. She obviously went to great lengths to hurt Dan. I mean, she emptied the house, she took everything out, left him a mattress with divorce papers. She even tried to change one of the kids' names because he was named after Dan's family. That's the extent this woman went to. Now, after running some errands and dropping his kids off at preschool, on July 18th, 2018, shortly before 11 a.m., Dan returned home to find somebody waiting for him in his driveway. A neighbor would find Dan in his car with a single gunshot wound just below his jawline.
Investigating a grisly murder committed in broad daylight in a college community. Just as shocking as the location, the victim, a professor and family man. And now his friends and former students remember this beloved teacher. Police struggle to piece together a puzzling crime. Who killed him and what was the motive? ABC's Matt Gutman has the mysterious clues.
Okay, what's going on with him?
I don't know. The driver's side window is all bashed in, and he's got blood all over his head.
A 911 call punctuating the morning calm. A vivid description of Florida State law professor Dan Marquel in his car, dying.
He's inside. I don't know if somebody tried to shoot him or if he shot himself or what. I don't know.
This isn't the domain of gunshot victims, but college professors and family men like Markel, who earlier that morning had dropped his two sons off at daycare and drove home. There in his garage, left for dead until that neighbor found him checking on the curiously open garage door.
Okay.
All right.
He's standing by, and I've heard about break-ins in the area, and so I decided to walk over and take a look. And the garage door was up and asked him what was happening, and then I saw the window was shattered.
But Markel, a renowned law professor, wasn't robbed. A law enforcement source tells ABC News the assailant waited for him in the driveway, then followed Markel into his garage. A single bullet hitting Markel beneath the jawline, but it didn't kill him.
He's still moving around, so he's alive.
Markel would die 14 hours later at Tallahassee Memorial Hospital, just a few minutes' drive from the house.
Now, after dying the next day in hospital, Tallahassee police would confirm that Dan was the intended victim and that this would be a homicide investigation. Now, Crime Stoppers would offer a reward of $25,000 for information leading to the arrest of an individual in Dan's case, and later an independently funded $100,000 reward was put up for information leading to the arrest of an individual. And police didn't have much to go on other than the fact that the neighbors saw Dan in the driveway and the fact that he saw a silver Toyota Prius leaving the driveway shortly after the gunshot. A year after Dan's death, after not having many leads and much to go on, the police held a press conference in which they released pictures of the silver Toyota Prius in hopes that somebody would come forward with information regarding Dan's killing. A memorial was held for Dan, and it just goes to show the impact his life had on those around him. The service had family, friends, students, co-workers. It had quite an impressive turnout. Now, as it often goes, the first suspect is the spouse, or in this case, the ex-spouse. So investigators first went to Wendy and interviewed her, and they deemed her cooperative, and they quickly put her down on the list of suspects, but not quite off of the list.
My sister was something going on Prescott. All right. I will talk to you soon. Bye.
That's all right. You can stop it. First, to stop automatically.
It's done.
Okay. Do you have your identification with you? All right. So you never took the last name of Markel?
No.
Adelson. Okay. Wendy with an I. Joe. Hi. There was a shooting at your home, or your ex-husband's home, at 2116 Trescott. Okay. Your ex-husband, Daniel, all right, has been taken to the hospital. He's not going to survive.
Oh my God.
Okay?
I'm sorry, Mom. It's funny. What happened?
Well, before we get into everything, I have to establish where you were and who you were with and so forth.
Okay.
Okay? And then once we've established all that, I can give you more details.
Okay.
Do you understand why I wanted you to come here before I discuss this?
Now, what really got police was that nothing was stolen. Dan still had his cell phone, his wallet, his keys. Nothing was taken. And they deemed it more of an assassination than a robbery gone wrong. And now, really, they just needed the motive, and they needed who. They needed why, and they needed who. During the investigation, investigators found CCTV of Dan running his errands the day he was shot, along with footage of the earlier mentioned silver Prius, and in it, known criminal Sigfrido Garcia, along with another accomplice, following Dan everywhere he went. Now, at some point in the investigation, investigators heard the name Catherine Magbanua, who, ironically, was Charlie Adelson's girlfriend, and Charlie Adelson is the brother of Wendy Adelson, which is Dan's ex-wife. Now, police would later dig up that the only link between Dan and Sigfrido Garcia was this Catherine Magbanua, who was family friends with the Adelsons, Dan's ex-wife's family. and Garcia was Catherine Magbanua's baby daddy. After police brought in Garcia to question him, he quickly gave the name of his accomplice, Luis Rivera, whom was also soon after arrested, and the pair told police that they were hired by none other than Charlie and Donna Adelson. Now, as I said, Charlie was the brother of Dan's ex-wife Wendy, and Donna was her mother, and they ran a dental practice together where Charlie was the dentist and Donna was the patient advocate. Now, Sigfrido Garcia's phone records showed that the first call made after the murder was to Catherine Magbanua, and it was presumably to tell her that the job was done. Starting months before Dan was killed, over a 12-month period, Catherine's bank records showed deposits of over $10,000, reaching a sum of $100,000 up until a few months after Dan was killed. Now, people always make mistakes during these types of things, and a mistake that was made here was every deposit into Catherine's bank account was made by a check, and checks have to be signed. And police found that every check was signed by Donna Adelson, Wendy's mother. Now, police would uncover emails from Donna Adelson to her daughter Wendy Adelson, and some of them were to the tune of, "Let's hit him where it hurts, you know his weak spots." Now, the Adelsons, Wendy's family, lived in Miami, and Wendy lived in Tallahassee where Dan lived because of the kids, because they had 50-50 custody. So half the time Dan would have the kids, half the time Wendy would. And in the clause, in the law, it stated that Wendy could not move away with the kids. Now, this apparently was the motive for the murder for hire. Now, Dan also filed a motion with the courts that Donna Adelson could not be alone with the kids because of the abuse that Dan suffered at the hands of Donna. Luis Rivera, while talking to police a second time, told him that when he got in the car, he thought that they were going to commit a simple drug robbery and not a murder, until he found out that he and Garcia were to be both paid $35,000. He also claimed that a woman named Katie was the main go-to when it came to what they were doing, and that the contract was because a woman wanted her kids back and wanted to be able to move away with her kids. Now, while Rivera was in custody, Charlie Adelson started getting calls from a man named Sandy, and Sandy was asking why Rivera wasn't being taken care of while he was in prison. Charlie was deceptive of this, and he was suspicious, so he kind of brushed it off, and eventually, he came to his senses, and he didn't incriminate himself at this time. Eventually, police finally found what they were looking for and made the arrests in the case. Catherine Magbanua and Sigfrido Garcia had a merged trial because they were both charged with the same charges, which were first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and solicitation of murder. Luis Rivera pled guilty to the charge of murder as part of a plea bargain and was sentenced to 19 years in prison. In his confession, Rivera said he was recruited by Sigfrido Garcia and that Catherine was the woman in the middle doing everything. Now, the jury wasn't able to reach a conclusion on Catherine Magbanua, so she was held in jail until May 27, 2022, where she was eventually found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. Sigfrido Garcia was found guilty and convicted on all charges of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and solicitation of murder, and was sentenced to life in prison. Charlie Adelson was arrested on April 21, 2022, and charged of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and solicitation of murder. His trial began October 26, 2023, and on November 6 was convicted on all charges and sentenced to life plus 30 years. Donna Adelson is currently in jail being held without bond on charges of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and solicitation of murder, and her trial is set for 2025. I just wanted to say thank you for watching, and if you like what you see, please like and subscribe for more.